Hello, this is Delphine with your intuitive guidance for this week, intended for anyone who comes across this video online and who resonates with it. So, the guidance that came through for this week feels really connected to the solstice that is upcoming, to that kind of that theme of harmonizing polarities and dancing between the dualities and finding ways, encouraging ourselves to find that kind of dynamic balance inside of ourselves. So, what came through was yet more reminders, if you've been listening in recent weeks, to keep tending to that introspective kind of inner nurturance and safety within, in particular, an emphasis on safety this week, kind of highlighting that that's what's needed in order for us to bring forth our creations and then take action in the outside world. So, if you kind of tune into what that actually means for you, the invitation here is really to actually make that happen for yourself, to really invest energy, attention, care, to consciously actually allow that to happen rather than just making a mental note of it and saying, oh yeah, I need to do this or I should do this and then I can go and do that. Like, giving it kind of a basic little level of attention and then assuming that that will be enough resourcing inside of yourself to then go forth and do something quite expansive or quite connected to showing up and being visible in the outside world or showing up for other people in your work and your relationships and things that you're creating. It needs more than that. So the reminders keep coming and I keep having a little bit of a resistance to them, if I'm being honest, in terms of not for me privately, because this actually feels like very aligned to where I'm at. But when I ask, like, what is the guidance that people who are connected to me online, to my audience or whoever whoever this is, going to reach, what is most supportive to them in their evolution. And it really keeps coming in quite strongly. And I feel that it is, so I'm just going to share some of the words that came through and then kind of share with you my additional take on it. But it was very much about making yourself a cocoon, again, a nest of beauty, in particular, the image of flowers and beauty and nourishing yourselves with what feels beautiful to you. And I shared a post recently about really very much identifying as an aesthete and a sensate. And it really is something so meaningful and so important to me. And I'm sure it is for many of you who are listening, that is one way that we can nourish ourselves and to not gloss over that as being something a bit ridiculous or not actually worthy or that won't work. That's not solely the reason why we're doing it, but to really let yourself be nourished by whatever is nourishing to you. And then it was like, let yourself be nourished by this cocoon, return to it often. You need it. You're being called to stretch and grow now. You're being asked to stretch and grow now. A sense of like change coming in. And so it helps to have a soft, cushioned space to return to rest and resource in whenever you need. You can come back and forth, dance between the two, outside and inside, back to your cocoon for rest and repair, then back to dancing and creating in the big world out there. So it's this kind of sense of like we need both. We need to also like not expect ourselves to just have the bare minimum in inner nourishment, whatever that looks like to you, whether it is a cocoon of beauty or time journaling, a little bit of extra time in the shower, whatever feel like intimate kind of spaces for you and rituals within the realms of what's possible for you in your daily life. Meditation, like if you do meditate more and come into more deep sort of introspection and connection with yourself, with your soul, with, the earth, whatever it is for you, we actually need that. And it doesn't get in the way of that outside stuff and the things that are maybe ego personalities and also our soul selves really want to get to. It actually facilitates that and nourishes that. And so then it's like we can come back into dancing and creating in the big world out there. So in the coming weeks, this feels like cumulative kind of building blocks and guidance that's been coming through to support us in these times in general. But it feels very much connected to also the collective energies of Pisces and Aries and the solstice and the kind of beginnings of the astrological, wheel and the fresh season. And that it's not like you kind of finish up with the Piscean dreamy stuff and then you get into Aries mode, because that's definitely not what the planets are telling us. There's a huge overlap and a kind of a confusing one at that for many. And that is the world that we are in now. We are in a lot of external chaos, and chaos doesn't have to be scary. It can also be quite exhilarating when you feel resourced enough to just like say yes or do the thing, experiment, explore beyond your current sense of what you know of yourself, who you are, what you tend to do as a person. When you have that like inner sort of bank of resourcing in a given day, and then across the week, and then across the weeks and months, then it is much more easy to say yes to those things and to stretch and grow. And the encouragement was also to know like that it can be light and playful now. The war is over. The war is over. I faltered there. That's so interesting. It's like I wanted to say the war is not over. What's that about? But it feels like, you know, the message that came through anyway for me to share is the war is over. So maybe some of us don't fully believe that. You know, we don't fully dare to believe that the time of strife is over. That kind of inner strife within our unconscious and our different aspects of ourselves. The war is over. Just keep taking tender care of you, your heart, your body, your dreams. And soon you will see them take shape. You will see your dreams take shape and your creations. So it's like acting as though the war is over, really believing it enough to not continue being at war with ourselves and our needs and denying ourselves what we need. Like we can do both. And soon you will see them take shape, and you will be well and feel relaxed and safe enough to truly enjoy them and the new life you are creating. And then let me just look at my scribbles here. It's like the foundations that you create within will support your creations to come to life. Nourish your inner light gently, playfully, for it to shine bright outside, externally. So yeah, stay well, keep yourself well, tend to your needs. And it's that real message that the inner tending and caretaking really, really helps the external expression of your light, of your unique frequency, of like your unique spark of the divine in this humanoid form. And I just wanted to add, like from my perspective, that a lot of this seems very related to what people can talk of as like lower chakra issues, so the root chakra, the sacral, and the solar plexus, because it's a lot to do with safety and what we need as a secure base to, and like what our pleasures are, like what we need to nourish ourselves, like our sacral selves are that sort of that creation space, everything associated with the sacral chakra. So creativity, sexuality, sensuality, creation, flow, all of the nourishment of what's juicy and feels good to you, and then whatever feels safe. You know, if you kind of give yourself the signal that you are safe because you know that you've tended to your core needs, like around food and sleep and time, giving yourself enough time. When you nourish yourself at those lower two chakras, then the solar plexus feels safer to go forth, you know, and express outwardly and explore and investigate and create and, oh, look at me, and oh, what's this, you know, and coming out into the outside world and showing ourselves and being seen. And of course, it doesn't stop there. There's the relational aspect of how we're received and all of that. But this feels very focused on the lower chakras. And something that very much helps me and that very much informs my work with people is thinking of it as, for those of you who know attachment theory or who kind of have read about, say, conscious parenting and that kind of thing, it is such a vital need of ours to have a secure base from which to explore. So when you see toddlers kind of looking back, like, are you still looking at me? You know, like, is this need okay, I'm good here. I've had my snack, I've had whatever. And then they're off, you know? And many of us have incredible wounding around that aspect of ourselves. And we're still working now in our 40s, 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s to actually create that for ourselves. So that's what I wanted to share in relation to this message, that it feels really about tending to yourself, making a cocoon of beauty and nurturance, literally with your duvet, like, or your, you know, whatever little nest you have in a corner of your sofa or in your garden or whatever, like a kind of a physical space for yourself, or a place that you go to within your own like inner ground in your meditation, you know, connecting to your belly, your heart space, your womb, your pelvis, whatever embodiment practices that you have, because the ultimate holding ground is ourselves and our body. So whatever ways you can encourage and foster that, and having that in place, you know, continuing to work on that aspect as we then do brave things and say brave things and difficult things and have difficult conversations and make ourselves available for joy as well, which can sometimes be the scariest thing of all, is to allow in joy and to really believe that the war is over, that the years and decades and eons and lifetimes of transmuting and healing these themes, ancestral themes and personal themes, that we then get to enjoy life now. But it really feels like a turning point. It feels as though cycles are ending, there's a completion, things are coming together, big change is coming. I mean, the guidance really was like, you're being asked to stretch and grow now. And so it helps to have this cushioned space to return to whenever you need, so you can freely dance between the two and feel like anchored in times of great change and unknown and chaos. And the last thing I want to say about this as well is it feels also connected to the theme of value, valuing ourselves, like self-esteem, and what we value. So whatever I'm sharing here, if any of it feels like something that you do want to take on, it's not looking left or right, like what are other people's ways of achieving this security within. It's getting really sovereign and kind of growing up, like maturing enough into yourself and your independence and your intuitive knowing, your own intuitive knowing and wisdom and power, that you dare to really follow whatever is pleasurable and joyful for you. Like what actually feels safety inducing and nourishing and beautiful for you. Not what other people say it is. It has to really be a kind of a very personal, attuned way of meeting yourself and your own needs. That is what fosters the trust ultimately and the sense of safety within, and then gives you this really solid inner foundation from which to go forth and shine and do whatever needs doing or whatever you desire to do, as well as what you are committed to doing. It's not a kind of just like a set list of things that humans need to do. It's whatever works for you, and to actually kind of have the courage to be really independent in that and really honest with yourself, like being a kind of a radical honesty with yourself, like about your schedule and what's working for you, your daily rituals, your habits, your food times, your time alone, time with people, all of those really foundational things that we would maybe like to think that we're above and, don't impact on us. But I know for sure that those of you who follow me or are connected to me, do, that we are highly sensitive, highly attuned, energetic beings who require a certain degree of, time alone and self-connection in order to then be in this very full world and keep access to these multidimensional skills and abilities and subtleties and be our intuitive, creative selves. There's something very particular that each of us needs. So I want to encourage you to, celebrate that and really meet yourself in that, because there's nothing that beats the incredible self-trust and self-belief and power that comes from acknowledging what you need, giving yourself that, and then building this loop of like trust of like, yeah, I'm a person who knows how to do this for myself. It wasn't maybe done for me in the most consistent way growing up or attuned way. Didn't quite get my needs because they were so exquisitely like unique and subtle. But now I'm someone who can do that for myself and receive support from others as well, in body work, in groups, in spaces with others who help you, be accountable to that. So that's the guidance for this week with my take on it. And if any of this feels like work that you would like to do with someone else and be kind of held in a container to delve into this more, explore these themes for yourself in a very personal way with whatever's moving for you in your life at the moment, whatever's emergent and maybe needs that kind of cushioning and the habit building, around self-support and nourishment, you're very welcome to get in touch with me. I do have availability at the moment for one-to-one clients. But yeah, I wish you well in this weaving of your cocoon, this message that keeps coming back in recent weeks, and in like enjoying discovering what that is for you and how it works, and like the feeling that comes from knowing that you give that to yourself, and that this is the new normal, that this is the kind of the rainbow after the storm, like the sunshine days, the beautiful period of your life where even as difficult things come in and there are sorrows and challenges in life, they're never going to stop, but that you have this much more kind of golden, loving, beautiful relationship with yourself inside that no one can take away from you. And that is really, really priceless. So that's it for today. Have a good week ahead.